Hey guys, Monty, collector of stuff, is recuperating from some health issues, and rather than get into a lot of details, he and others, but mainly for Monty, have asked me to do an overview of my collection. Not just my Criterion collection, but everything I've got. It will be an endeavor, to say the least, but I'm hoping that it will help with Monty's recuperation. He's not quite feeling up to making videos yet, but he does watch them and occasionally comment. He commented on mine the other day, and I hadn't heard from him in quite some time, so I was a little concerned. Because I knew he'd had some health issues previously, and he has been in and out of the hospital. He's home now. So Monty, I wish you well. These videos are at your request, and hopefully others will enjoy them as well. I'm going to start with my Criterion collection because a lot of people seem to like that. And then from there, I'm going to branch out to, I don't know about genre, but by shelf. I'll take it shelf by shelf, and I have things mixed. They make sense to me. They may be in some proximity to when I bought them, in some proximity to what, well, in some, for some reasons, what fits on the shelf, and sort of goes together. Or in some cases, I just had room for it there, and there it stayed, and I know it's there. So I probably should at one point go through my entire collection and reclassify and put it by genre or something. I have the horror together. I have most of the science fiction together. The TV stuff is all over the place. The Criterion's all together, so that's good. Some stuff is downstairs, but I will show that. Some stuff is in my bedroom, but I will gather that up and show that. A lot of it's in this movie room, but not all of it. I really couldn't fit it all in here, even though I just added another set of shelves. I really couldn't fit the whole collection in here if I tried. Or it'd be all just nothing but movies on the walls. And might appeal to me, but maybe not to everybody else. So without further ado, let's start with the Criterion collection, at least part of it in this video, and we'll go on from there. All right, these may be some lengthy videos, and I usually try to keep them at 15 minutes. These are going to be longer, and I hope you enjoy them. I don't know if I'll be on camera for the whole thing. I think in a lot of cases I'm going to just show the video. I am short one item from my Criterion collection, because I sold, actually two, because I sold them. I sold The Third Man on DVD, the newer version of the DVD. There's an they're both out of print, but there's an older out of print version, which isn't as good. And then the newer one. This is Carol Reed's The Third Man with Orson Welles. Great movie, Joseph Cotton in it. Great movie, but I just couldn't justify. I sold it for like $100. I couldn't justify holding on to it for that money. And then also 3 films of Tess Gahara. Great films, Pitfall, Woman Under the Dunes, and oh boy, it's The Face of Another, and a great documentary, a fourth disc of supplements, and a great book, and one of the most iconic covers, which is a fingerprint, I believe, of Tess Gahara, reprinted on a white background. It's just really striking to me. It was in pristine condition. Yes, I played them, but they were DVDs, and I got like 125 shipped. So I cannot complain. I paid $40 for it. And, money is a little tight, so it always helps to do that. And then I spent some of that money on buying a couple Blu-rays from Roger, Channel Donstar, who's having some financial troubles, as we all do from time to time, but his seemed to be a little bit worse. I don't know the details. I haven't talked to Roger in any detail about it, but I was happy to help a little bit. I bought, I think, 3 movies off him. He's selling them pretty cheap, but so if you want to help Roger out and pick up some good movies, got some great films similar to what I have. Doesn't have the Criterion collection I have, but everything else is very similar. So anyway, let's start with the Criterion collection. I think, well, the way I'll do this is the very top shelf, which is above this one, you can't really see, you just see the corner of it, is all stuff that comes in sort of boxes, but not box sets, if that makes sense. They're single release movies for the most part, I think, with a couple exceptions. But they're in like smaller boxes, all Blu-ray. So we'll start with, I think they're alphabetical, and we'll start with that, and we'll get at least through that shelf. I'm going to probably bring them down rather than bring the camera up and do it that way. Whether I stay on camera or not, I don't know. Doesn't matter to me. In some ways, I'm more comfortable off camera talking about the movie, but we'll see what we do. So just give me a minute here to grab some, and we'll start. Okay, I'm back, and I've got my stack of, I don't know, 15 or so There's 3 sections to each of these, so I've got the uppermost section cleared out. So it's a section similar to this one here, about 15 movies or so, and then I'll do the other 2 as well. At least to get the top row out of the way. These are all like they have cardboard covers around them, slip cases, if you will. This one's all cardboard. It's been reissued not as cardboard, and I was tempted to get that version, but I like just because of the plastic case. This one's a little different than the rest. But it's Spine Number 5 by Francois Truffaut. Francois Truffaut, a French director. If you saw the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, he was in that movie as an actor. He was also an actor. He played the bespectacled scientist who is kind of in charge of the project studying the aliens. And Richard Dreyfuss basically talks his way, well, he doesn't really talk his way. He sneaks his way on, and then once he's there, Francois Truffaut sort of allows him to go with the aliens at the end. I don't think there's any spoilers here. If you haven't seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I don't know, pretty old movie. But it's worth watching even if I did spoil it for you. It's a good movie. Anyway, this was Francois Truffaut's first movie, and it really recreates his childhood in a lot of ways. His parents were kind of, indifferent. He had, unruly or really mean-spirited teachers. There was a lot of crime in his town in France. He was a critic, Francois Truffaut, and this was his first film, and it moved him from the role of critic into more of a director. In fact, one of the key directors of the French New Wave, along with Jean-Luc Godard and others. We'll get to Jean-Luc Godard at some point. Not in the first group, I don't think, but we'll get to Jean-Luc Godard because he's very influential. He is in the French first group with Breathless. But this is the 400 Blows. Pardon the glare, if there is glare. There probably is from either the TV or to do something about that. But the 400 Blows is great. It's got a lot of extras on it. A high-definition digital transfer, 2 audio commentaries, one by cinema professor Brian Stonehill, and another by Francois Truffaut's lifelong friend, Robert Lachenay. Lachenay? French names. I'm going to have to probably... See, that's all from the window. I can't do much about that. And we'll try to just hold it like this and probably be all right. Newsreel footage of from Cannes of the showing of the 400 Blows. Extra from a TV program in which Truffaut discusses his youth, his critical writings, and the origins of Antoine. Antoine is basically him, the child here, who's playing the young Truffaut. TV interview with Truffaut about the global reception of the 400 Blows and his own critical impression of the film. The theatrical trailer and an essay by scholar Annette Insdorf. It's 99 minutes from 1959. It's in black and white. Of course, it's French with English subtitles. 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio, so that'll be as opposed to, yeah. Anyway, so it's going to look very theatric on your screen. And this is, of course, the Blu-ray edition. I mentioned it's Spine Number 5. It looks great, by the way. Great. Everything. There's very few things on Criterion Collection I will say don't look great. In almost every case, it's the best looking version of the film available, and may be the best looking version of the film that is ever going to be available, unless they unearth something else. So the process that Criterion uses, the Criterion Collection people use to weed out bad images is extensive, costly, and that's part of what you're paying for, is the time, effort, and the tools they've used to create these movies. So 400 Blows by Francois Truffaut, Spine Number 5. It's not the first one. I actually have Spine Number 1, but that's on DVD. We'll get to that later on. But that's the first one I'm going to show here. Next up is Billy Wilder's classic. I love Billy Wilder, great director. This is a great vehicle for, Kirk Douglas. I know the guy, but it's Ace in the Hole. Just to summarize the story briefly, he's a reporter who is a little bit down on his luck. He has not had, a major story, and he goes to this small town, and he, it's very telling, actually. This film was made in 1951. Looks great, by the way, again. About a reporter who'll do anything for a big story, even if he has to almost create the story or allow the story to be created, I guess, is a way to look at it. Tells the story of a man trapped in a mine. This is his ace in the hole. He uses this now to springboard his stories, and he becomes quite popular. I'll just read a little bit here. Ace in the Hole is one of the most scathing indictments of American culture ever produced by a Hollywood director. Kirk Douglas gives the fiercest performance of his career as Chuck Tatum, an amoral newspaper reporter who's washed up in a dead-end Albuquerque newspaper. But he happens upon the scoop of a lifetime and will do anything to keep getting the lurid headlines. This is Billy Wilder's follow-up to one of my favorite movies, Sunset Boulevard, which is one you ought to watch. We'll get to that one later on in my collection, not a Criterion, but otherwise. This dual format, both the Blu-ray and the DVD are here. Lots of special features to include a 2K transfer, audio commentary by a film scholar, a 1980 documentary featuring interviews with Billy Wilder, interview with Kirk Douglas from 1984, extras from a 1986 appearance by Wilder at the American Film Institute. Just a lot of stuff on here. A lot of extras. Highly recommend Ace in the Hole. And actually, the book that comes with this looks like a newspaper. You kind of open it up like you would a newspaper, which is perfect. This is part of what it looks like, actually. So Ace in the Hole by Billy Wilder. Great, great, great movie. Spine number... Yeah, right. Okay. Well, let's see. The plastic's just hitting there. 396. 1951, 111 minutes. Of course, it's in English. 1.37 to 1 aspect ratio. So that's going to be more of a than a more TV-like old style TV, more squarish than rectangular. Okay, next up is great movie, Spine number 4. This one from Federico Fellini. Another one that it's not really the story of his childhood. What it is he had, like all of us do, we have memories of people that we knew or things that happened that we recall. We may not recall them exactly the way they happened because life and years sometimes adds a sheen of a better memory than it was, or maybe a worse memory than it actually was, depending on the memory. Tragic things become maybe more tragic than they really were because we were impressionable when we were younger. Anyway, the story is called Amarcord, which roughly rough translation is I remember or I recall. So all these characters are in the movie. Oh, there's a prostitute. There's kids that he hung out with, old ladies that were part of the neighborhood. Whether these were actual people or not, or kind of conglomerations of people, which may be more true, or embellished memories. All these things are possible with this film. But it's a great film, a great artwork. I love the artwork on the box on this. Again, it's a cardboard box, and this slides right out. I'm not going to do that because I have them all in plastic. People ask me about this plastic. I don't remember where I got it exactly, but it just peels up. There's like a self-sticking thing on it, and you can take this off. So when I want to watch this film, I can take the plastic off, slide it out, and then put it back into the plastic. I just choose not to do that right now. The plastic does provide a glare. This is a matte finish. Tons of extras on this as well, including interviews, various drawings of the characters in the film from actually that Fellini drew. This shows the restoration demonstration, which is kind of interesting. 123 minutes, 1973. It's in color. Of course, it's in Italian, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio, so a little bit more this way than this way. Gonna look film-like, but just a great movie. Great iconic images in this movie, and it's a movie about growing up. So it's if you had quirky people in your neighborhood, you're gonna be able to relate to this. And who didn't? I know I did. I got Mr. Pinkowitz on the corner who Everybody called him Pinky, not to his face. The guy wore one of those little caps with a little bill on it, and then kind of a flat, like a baseball hat, but only a really tiny little bill here, I guess. And then flatter on the top than this would be. You know the kind. I mean, I can't remember what they're called. A white T-shirt all the time. Sometimes suspenders. He was a big guy. Always long pants. And if a ball went into his yard and he hopped his fence, he'd go, get off my fence! Get off my goddamn fence! You know, the guy would yell. We used to play football, and sometimes the ball would go into his yard because his was right at the end of the street. His yard kind of wrapped around the end of the street. We played football on the road, and the ball would sometimes go into his yard. We hated when it happened. We hated to climb the guy's fence, but we hated to ask him for the ball too. I actually remember I remember asking him one time for knocking on his door and asking if I could get the ball, and he said, "Sure, no problem." And he let me in, and the guy was really nice, but he didn't want anybody hopping his fence. And who can blame him? You know, ruin a fence. I have as a homeowner, I don't have a fence on this property, but the last home I had a fence, and I understand not wanting kids to hop the fence. It ruins it. Anyway, Amarcord. It's a long way around there. Next one is one that I haven't watched yet. In fact, I haven't even opened it yet. And I have films like that. Not many, but this one I haven't opened yet. But I know a little bit about the film. I read a lot about it before I bought it. With Criterion Films, one of the few films that I will buy, and this is, to me, this is part of the exciting thing about Criterions. I always know it's going to be a quality film. I've not watched a film yet on the Criterion Collection that I said, I didn't like that film. I've watched them and said I didn't like it as well as some others that I've watched, but I never really felt like I wasted my time watching it. Criterion is careful to choose movies that are entertaining, that are impactful, meaningful. So whether it be Repulsion by Roman Polanski or Heaven's Gate by Michael Cimino, or Camino, however you want to pronounce that, or Amarcord, or this movie, directed by Satyajit Ray, the Apu Trilogy. This is intriguing to me because it starts off, the best of the three is supposed to be the first one, which is Pather Panchali. Then there's Aparjito, and then there's Apur Sansar. These are movies based in India, rural Bengal, actually. This is the story of a child who grows up. Basically, he starts out as a boy in you know the impoverished area that he lived in. And it's supposed to be, what it says are, these are among the most achingly beautiful, richly humane movies ever made. Essential works for any film lover. So I am eager to watch these. I just have not yet. It's on my list, but so are a lot of other films that I own. So I will watch it. And if anybody's, you know, any of these movies that I'm showing that I don't give any real in-depth to, please feel free to ask me about it. I'll be happy to do a review if you'd like. It might spur me to watch the movie faster than I might normally. These are spines 763, 64, and 60, 783, 784, and 785 from 1955. They are in black and white, all three, in mono. It's in Bengali with English subtitles. Bengali. I'm really looking forward to it. I've seen scenes from it. And like I said, that's what I love about the Criterion. I know this is going to be a moving film. I know it. I know it's going to have some beautiful scenery in it. I know that. And I'm looking forward to it. So the Apu Trilogy. This next one is not a documentary, but you'd swear to God it was. It's spine number 249. From 1966, 121 minutes, black and white. It's in French and Arabic. 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. By the way, the Apu Trilogy is what? 1.37, so that's going to look a lot like a TV screen. This one's going to be a little bit wider. This is 2-disc Blu-ray special edition of a film by, Gillo Pontecorvo. Sorry, I'm not great with these pronunciations. But it's the Battle of Algiers. This is a movie that I wasn't going to buy, and then somebody recommended it to me. And I swear, you swear it's a documentary. You swear that what you're seeing is real. It's shot in a documentary style, but it's not a documentary. So it looks like it's a documentary, but it's not a documentary. If that makes any sense. They're shooting it as if it were one, and acting as if it were, but they're recreating everything that happened. So it's not actually happening as you're watching it. But it is the Battle of Algiers. So these were French soldiers. It's the Algerian struggle for independence from the occupying French in the 1950s. It's a great movie. I highly recommend this. It's different from a lot of movies in that it's in that, and there's another one I'm going to get to that looks like a documentary, but isn't. So, Battle of Algiers. Let's see, this next one, filmed by Lars von Trier, 1995? 1996. 159 minutes in color, 5.1 surround, 2.35 to 1, so very widespread. Film number 705. This was a strange movie. I liked it. Breaking the Waves. I love the cover art on it. Let's see the person there. Breaking the Waves. It's a story about, it's a fable, is what it says on here. Lars von Trier became an international sensation with this galvanizing, realist fable about sex and spiritual transcendence. In an Oscar-nominated performance, Emily Watson, who's brilliant in this, by the way, stuns as Bess, a simple, pious newlywed in a tiny Scottish village, who gives herself up to a shocking form of martyrdom after her husband is paralyzed in an oil rig accident. Her husband is played by Stellan Skarsgård. He's in a ton of shit. I'm trying to think of what movies I've seen him in. Just a ton. He was in one of the movies my wife likes. What's that one with Meryl Streep in it that's all songs from ABBA? Can't think of the name of it. She watches it all the time. Turns it up, sings to it. Well, he's in that movie as one of the suitors to Meryl Streep. But he's just in a lot of movies, and he's in this movie. It's a strange movie. Somewhat surreal. It's a small little island type, peninsula type town right on the coast. The guy works on an oil rig. He does get paralyzed through an accident. She then, I don't know why she martyrs herself. I'm not sure what that's all about. But it's very sexual in nature, and it's odd. It's an odd film. I liked it, but very bleak. The very brown and very desolate. And this rocky shoal type, beautiful and yet not colorful at all. Very, very dull looking, though it's shot in color. So I guess I give the details on that right now. Last one, well, not the last one, halfway through, is a 1960 film which changed in many ways the French and cinema in general. This is Jean-Luc Godard's Breathless. Love the, it's just a striking deal here on this one. So, very colorful spine. Spine number 400 and something or other. 408. It's amazing they waited that long to put this one out. 90 minutes black and white. Of course, it's in French. 1.33, so it's going to be a television type screen. Restored high definition digital transfer. Archival interviews with director Jean-Luc Godard and actor Jean-Paul Belmondo, Jean Seberg, and Jean-Pierre Melville. Video interviews with a bunch of people. 2 video essays. And 80-minute French documentary about the making of Breathless. The thing with Breathless is it changed the way cinema was done. A lot of the standard conventions of how you should film, Godard challenged. He had a lot of cut shots, quick. He had incomplete dialogue. Things would cut away. But it all worked together to tell a great story. It was lack of polish, surplus of attitude, anything goes, crime narrative, and effervescent young stars. Godard helped launch the French New Wave with this film, and ensured cinema would never be the same. What I've heard said by critics and others is that this film changed the grammar of making movies. It was okay to do things differently than had been done before, and certainly a lot of French directors, including Godard, would continue this type of format into other movies. So, Breathless, Jean-Luc Godard. Next is, let me get these backwards. Okay, this one is another documentary that well, it's not a documentary. It looks like a documentary, but it's a film about. Actually, this is not the one that I'm thinking of as a documentary, but this one is. It tells it's a story of a real life person who was an international terrorist and drug dealer and so on. His name was Ilich Ramirez Sanchez, also known as Carlos the Jackal. This film's from 2010, 339 minutes. It's in color, 5.1 surround sound. It's in English, Arabic, German, Spanish, French, Hungarian, Japanese, and Russian. Probably has the record for the most languages in a film, I'm thinking. 2.35 to 1 aspect ratio, so very film-like. It's gorgeous. It's the way it's filmed, and it's a film by Olivier Assayas, and it's called Carlos the Jackal. Played brilliantly by Edgar Ramirez. He plays him as a swaggering global gangster. Criterion presents a complete, uncut, director-approved 5.5-hour version. 5.5-hour version. Yeah, I've sat through this. I really should watch it again. I remember watching it and being distracted a lot during the 5 hours. Someone would come in the room and ask a question. I'd let it play, and I'd miss some stuff. And typically I didn't pause. It was 5.5 hours, for goodness sake. So there's a movie I have that's even longer than that I watched. But tons of extras on this too. A video interview with the director and actor. Selected scene commentary. Archived interview with Carlos' associate, or real life Carlos' associate. Yeah. The timeline of Carlos's life, the actual Carlos, and biographies of selected figures portrayed in this film. So lots of stuff here. I haven't watched all the extras. I will admit to that. I watched the movie, but not all the extras. So this is one I should watch again. If someone wants me to do a review of this one, I'd be happy to do that. It's not one that you see a lot. Actually, I don't see this in a lot of people's collections. Spine 592. I mentioned it's 339 minutes. Yeah, Carlos, recommended. Next, in a similar vein and in a documentary sort of style, I suppose. This is a film by, I don't know who else could have made this film but Steven Soderbergh. It's the story of Che Guevara, and it's 2 parts. The first part is 135 minutes, the other part is 136 minutes. So we're talking about a long film here, 4 hours plus. Again, I've watched this. It is lengthy, 2.39, and then a 1.73 on part 2. I don't know why the difference. Tons of stuff on this, though. Tons of extras. Che, who didn't have that poster at one point back in the 60s, probably. I was too young for it, but others would have had that poster up. I've certainly seen it a lot of places in T-shirts and so on. Yeah. 2 discs. Let's try that a little differently here. There we go. Yeah, that's Benicio del Toro in the role, isn't it? Yeah. I recall, yeah. Great stuff. Che buying 496. Jay. Well, I've watched this a number of times. I'm a huge music fan, and I didn't know how to file this, but since it's called the Complete Monterey Pop Festival, I filed it under C for complete, and it is in one of these cardboard boxes. But there's 2 Blu-rays here, and if you're gonna, there's available as one Blu-ray. It's available as just the Monterey Pop, but I pay the extra money to also get Jimi Hendrix plays and Otis Redding. To have their complete sets from Monterey Pop. Woodstock got all the glory, but Monterey Pop probably was a better concert overall. And it's got let's see, who's on this thing? Everybody. Janis Joplin, Jimi Hendrix, Otis Redding, Simon and Garfunkel, the Mamas and the Papas, the Who, the Byrds, and many others. I'm leaving out a lot of people who were there, but these are just the ones that they highlighted on the back here. But there are plenty of others. Jefferson Airplane is mentioned here. Country Joe and the Fish. The Grateful Dead did not make it here. The Association. Tons of stuff on here. Tons of great music. This concert was put on by John Phillips, who was basically the brains behind the Mamas and the Papas. Mama Cass Elliott was still alive and is here. On this one, she of legendary status, whether she choked on a chicken bone or died of a heart attack or whatever. There's all sorts of legends there around her. She, of course, dated Pigpen for a while from the Grateful Dead, another guy who died young. Love this set. In fact, I might put this on later today. As background music while I'm doing this or whatever. I'm going to throw it on the television. It's great stuff. Great versions on this. What spine number is it, you ask? Yeah. I can't read that. What is that? 167. The 1 is kind of a misprint on it for some reason. 167. Great stuff. I definitely can't read the aspect ratio. The print on this thing is really tiny for me. You get a better chance of reading it than I do. I don't know. I'm not sure. It's really hard to read. My recollection was that it was film-like. 5.1 mixes on this one, by the way. So they've redone that to put it in 5.1. Great stuff. It is DTS HD Master Audio. Eddie Kramer, the legendary recording engineer, remastered this. Great stuff. Record digital transfers of everything, high definition of all the films. Supervised by D.A. Pennebaker, who actually directed this. And he also did Bob Dylan and others. He's fairly legendary. He did some other Criterion collection, like Salesman. Big fan of that one, too. So Pennebaker, great documentary maker and complete Monterey Pop Festival. Spent a little time on this one, but you know what? In my opinion, it's an essential part of the Criterion collection. If you love music, if you love the history of this Monterey Pop, again, it's a Woodstock-like show. I would highly recommend this. And the Otis Redding and Jimi Hendrix disc is amazing. So, highly recommend that. We'll go from that to something totally different. Really, we go from C to E, huh? I don't have any D's, I guess. Again, and it's in a box set. One of those. This is such a freaking strange movie. 1977, 89 minutes, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. It's in English, but I don't know if it matters. It's a fucking strange movie. What it says on the back, it's a work of extraordinary craft and beauty. I don't know. It's mesmerizing. It says that. I'll give you that. It's mesmerizing. I'm not sure it's got. I wouldn't call it beauty. I'd call it disturbing. And that is Eraserhead, David Lynch. It's a movie that's studied a lot in film school and so on. It is striking. I'll give you that. It's a striking visual odyssey. And it does say it continues to haunt American cinema like no other film. I'll give you that. It's very strange. There's also 6 short films on here called Six Men Getting Sick, The Alphabet, The Grandmother, The Amputee, version 1 and version 2, premonitions following an evil deed, and a new documentary featuring interviews with actors Charlotte Stewart and Judith Roberts. A booklet featuring an interview with Lynch from filmmaker and writer Chris Rodley's 1997 book Lynch on Lynch. So yeah, lots of stuff here. And this 4K digital restoration was supervised by director David Lynch. 1977, I said 99 minutes long. Yeah. Spine number 725. Yeah, 725. Eraserhead from David Lynch. Great movie. I haven't watched all this next one. I've watched part of it. This it's hard to explain. There's two different versions on this thing: the theatrical version and the television version. I've watched the theatrical version, but everybody says you should really watch the television version. So one of these days I got to get around to doing that. Ingmar Bergman is a director I enjoy for a lot of reasons. He was not afraid to look into God and life and the meaning of life, and I know that Hey USA just won gold medal in the what do you call it, crew. Kind of cool. I'm just watching the Olympics here. At least I think they did. They're still rolling, so maybe not. They're way ahead though. Let's put it that way. Women's crew, they're ahead by half a boat length, and it looks like they're holding on to it. Anyway. This is Fanny and Alexander. I get distracted. Fanny and Alexander. Great movie. Great iconic images in this. Yeah, this is the... it's a story of a family at the turn of the 20th century. They're kind of in the rich world, I guess. Bourgeois world, I guess. Yeah, it's been a while since I watched this, actually. I should have watched it again. 261. You know, you watch a movie and then I'm lost to tell you too much more about it. I remember it was the images were very striking. I remember that. I did not watch the documentary on it. Yeah, it says it's the legendary director's warmest and most autobiographical film. I remember it being a warm film. Some were really bleak and desolate. I know that Aaron Pinn's better half is not a fan of Ingmar Bergman. Maybe this is one she should watch, if she hasn't already. Perhaps the warmness of it would be better than, say, The Seventh Seal, which is not warm, or The Magician, which I enjoy. I enjoy both those films, actually. But anyway, we'll get to those later on. Fanny and Alexander, Ingmar Bergman. It was his last film. Spine 261. It's long. I can't remember how long it is. 1.66 to 1 aspect ratio, by the way. Yeah, it was a long movie. I remember that. 2 hours plus long. In the version I saw. Last from the top shelf. Joel. Collector 1138, part of the Cinemologists. You should check those guys out if you haven't before. Joel and his two buddies, and I wish I had two buddies like he has two buddies. He's got two buddies, and I say Joel. I mean, Joel's the one who's written to me, so I kind of keep him more in as the main guy, I guess, as I know him. But there's Y2K and his other buddy whose name totally escapes me. I don't know why. Tall guy, he's a director, good-looking guy. I say good-looking because I can't think of his name. He's a good-looking guy. But, throw him a compliment because I can't think of his name. But anyway, it may come to me. They were very excited about this, and they did a documentary on, not documentary, kind of a video on should not the Criterion collection include animated films. They hadn't up until this film, and I was like, no, there's too many other films to come out. Why mess with animated? There's a whole other world of films that they can restore and so on. But this was probably a good one to start with. Spine 700 from 2009, 87 minutes long, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. It's a cute movie. It's a clever movie. It's a well done movie. It's not my favorite movie, but I like it. It's not even my favorite Wes Anderson movie. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Great animation in it. Great voice acting by, I can't remember, but there's a whole bunch of people in this that are fairly famous. Oh, George Clooney, Meryl Streep. There you go. Pretty famous right there, right? William Dafoe. Jason Schwartzman. But mainly, mainly Meryl Streep and George Clooney. Fantastic Mr. Fox. Wes Anderson. Okay, that's the first shelf. Let me stock that back up. It took about 35 minutes. And do the next shelf, at least. And that will be the start of the, kind of the numbers through the letter M in my Criterion collection. These will be just Blu-rays. No, I'm sorry. No, we're still on the box. We're still on the top row. I'm not even to the regular cases like these. I'm still on the boxes, like more of these type stuff, only thinner. Anyway, let's continue with the top row, and we'll get to the alphabetical ones later on. Okay, guys, back with more of my top shelf Criterions. These are ones that are in the cardboard slip covers. What a great movie! I'm almost tempted to take this one up, but I'm not going to. Great movie. That actually includes two movies: the original Japanese and the American kind of remake by Ishiro Honda. I'm talking about Godzilla. What a great movie. Great fun. You gotta like Godzilla. It's a film that was an indictment on America for dropping the H-bomb, right? Godzilla was a result of that. And darn America, if they hadn't dropped the H-bomb on Japan, we wouldn't have this. So that's kind of the deal there. Spine, good luck reading this. Plastic makes it really hard. It's right on let's see if I can see this. It's like 6 something 4. Black and white, 1.37 to 1, so like a TV screen type. It's in Japanese with English subtitles. Yeah. There's a booklet with an essay here too, but Godzilla, what a iconic cover that is, huh? Great stuff. All right, that's Godzilla. Don't work yet. Next up is this is a strange movie by Paolo Sorrentino from 2013. I'm sorry, 142 minutes, 5.1 surround in Italian with English subtitles. Another one I bought blind but liked it. This is this guy Jep Gambardella. Who played him? The actor's name. He was really good in it. This is director approved edition, dual edition, Blu-ray and DVD. I bought a lot of these. This is a blind buy. I like the he for years was kind of a playboy, of course fictional. He was a playboy in France, and very popular with the ladies, and very popular in nightlife. And on his 65th birthday, he decides there's got to be more to life than that. And so what it said, he looks past the lavish nightclubs, parties, and cafes to find Rome itself in all its monumental glory, timeless landscape of absurd, exquisite beauty, featuring sensuous cinematography. It really does. A lush score, and that's true. And award, right here it is, Tony Servillo. That's the guy who plays the role. He's awesome in it. This is a transporting sequence by the brilliant Italian director Paolo Sorrento. It's breathtaking. Fellini-esque tale of decadence and lost love. Yeah, it reminds me of Fellini. A lot of this reminds me of Fellini. The images and the kind of the general plot and everything. But I would recommend this, The Great Beauty of Rome. Yeah, it's different. I'll give you that. Go from that to something that's just a lot of fun, and I love this edition. Again, a dual format, signed by the director. The director's still alive, thank goodness. From 1964, 87 minutes, 5.1 surround sound, thank goodness, 1.75 to 1 aspect ratio. Spine 711 filled with extras. And probably the most recognizable guitar chord in all of music is the opening chord to the song A Hard Day's Night by the Beatles. That clangy guitar sound, one note identifies it, if you know the song, as A Hard Day's Night, and this is the movie A Hard Day's Night, the Beatles' first film and their best film, captured pretty much their life. Exaggerated a little bit. So Paul was the cute one, so that was exaggerated more. You know, George was the quiet one, that was exaggerated more. Ringo was the funny one, that was exaggerated more. Everything was exaggerated. John was maybe the intellectual one, and all those things were exaggerated more than reality to play into those stereotypes a little bit. And the guy who played Paul's grandfather in this was really cute. I can't think of his name. Yeah, it says bandmates play slapstick versions of themselves. This film captured the astonishing moment when they officially became the singular, irreverent idols of their generation and changed music forever. And the soundtrack, of course, Hard Day's Night, Can't Buy Me Love, If I Fell, I Should Have Known Better, and others are just iconic representations of the 60s that were the Beatles. And the film is brilliant. The extras on it are, I'm not even going to read them all. There's just a ton of extras on this. This is, again, the dual format Blu-ray plus DVD, A Hard Day's Night, The Beatles. In my opinion, a must-own video. Just my opinion. Yeah, this is a fun film. Spy 707 from 1952. No, could be right, yeah. 1962. 105 minutes in black and white. Well, I guess it could have been 52. But not from the car, I don't think. This is called Il Sorpasso by Dino Risi. It's a, it's one of these travel by car films. These two dudes hop in a car, and they're two, let's see, it's an unlikely pair, a waggish, freewheeling bachelor and the straight-laced law student he takes on a madcap trip from Rome to Tuscany. Yeah, it's an unforgettable journey, unpredictable journey that careens from slapstick to tragedy. It's a great movie. I would consider it a comedy for the most part. Anyway, good movie, Il Sorpasso. A weird cover, I thought, but I liked it. I just thought it was odd. I don't know, the green with the black. But yeah, good stuff. 707's fine number. Next is I saw a review of somebody who was it Mike? Mike, I think. Mike, I'm sorry, I can't think of your full name. Mike with the beard like mine without all this other shit, just this part. Great movie fan. Mentioned me recently in a video, and thank you for that, Mike. He had mentioned he went to an art house film to sit through a movie and couldn't sit through it. Actually, to leave it was so bad. And that's this movie. And I don't get it because I like this movie. To me, this movie was a lot of fun. And it had such famous people in it. And it's ungodly long, 163 minutes, I'll give you that. But I watched the whole thing, and I watched a lot of the extras. I haven't watched all the extras because there's a shitload, but I watched a lot of them. And it's a mad world. Yeah, Carl Reiner's in this. And who directed this damn thing? I can't remember who directed it. Stanley Kramer. Yeah, it is a mad world. And this is a mad movie from 1963, 2.76 to 1 aspect ratio, 5.1 surround sound. Everybody's in this. Mickey Rooney, Ethel Merman, Sid Caesar, Milton Berle, Spencer Tracy, Jonathan Winters, and a boatload of people who make special appearances. Sort of on a, you want it to be a surprise when they pop up on the screen, basically. But I like this movie a lot. I don't understand why he didn't like it, but anyway. I mean, it's not a great movie, don't get me wrong. But it's a fun movie. It's a madcap. They're all trying to find this prize. They're all working through some clues as to where this prize might be. And all these people, for various reasons, all these people are trying to find it. Some are grouped together, others are individuals. Well, most of them are grouped together, and some, one or two at least. But they're all trying to find this money, basically, that was been hidden. And it is a mad world. Actually, I have this to give away. I'm going to do that in a contest, I think, one of these days, unless someone wants to trade for it. I have the DVD version of this film, and I bought the Blu-ray because I like this so much. 281 is the spine. 1962, 106 minutes. Story of three people, two guys both in love with the same girl, and how those relationships change over the years, they're all friends, but the two guys at different periods of time. Well, I think they always love her, but it's Catherine. Yeah, this is a Francois Truffaut film. Again, a ton of extras. Not going to read them all, just a ton. Jules and Jim. Jules and Jim are the two guys, and then of course they both are after Catherine. This is an exuberant and poignant meditation on freedom, loyalty, and the fortitude of love. It was a worldwide smash in 1962 and remains every bit as audacious and entrancing today. I would say. I recommend Jules and Jim. I think it's a great movie. I think it's great direction, great acting in it. I do have the DVD. If anybody is interested in training for it, it's got a nice booklet with it. It's not on the shelf, I don't think. I think I moved it off the shelf because I had the duplicate. Yeah, I put it in a separate box somewhere. So if you're interested in trading for Jules and Jim, let me know. It's a 2-disc DVD, so it's a thicker case. If you've got something on the Criterion collection or some other movie or movies that you want to trade me, I'd be happy to consider that for Jules and Jim. It is a great movie. If you like the sound of it, it's kind of a growing up movie, but being in love with the same girl. Next one, great movie. This is Steven Soderbergh. What the heck's on this? Sticky stuff. Sticky stuff from like a box set or something. Anyway, it's on plastic, so it doesn't hurt it. This is a dual edition, so it's got the Blu-ray and the DVD. It's signed by Steven Soderbergh, so it's the director's approved edition of this. King of the Hill. Let's see. This is Poor Chicago, I believe. Isn't it Chicago? Is it Chicago? Set in St. Louis. I'm sorry. Set in St. Louis during the Great Depression. The boy's father, mother gets consumption or something. She has to go to like a mental hospital. The boy's father's a salesman and has to leave him alone. Well, he doesn't want to leave him alone, but something happens. Something happened. I can't remember why he's alone. He ends up alone. Yeah. That's right. His mother gets tuberculosis, and his younger brother is sent to live with a relative, but they can't take both of them. So here he's stuck by himself, and the father was supposed to send money, but it wasn't enough, and so he's trying to scramble because what's happening is they're locking up people's apartments one by one, and actually the guy who's locking up is taking their possessions. But he makes friends with sort of a rebellious type person, and it's his struggles to survive in St. Louis without any money, without a job, without any parents, and he's a teenager or early teenager, maybe 12 or 13 years old, something like that. I don't know if it says how old he is, but he's young. He's not an older boy, and he's got to survive. And it's one of Soderbergh's most touching and surprising films. I would say so. I'm not going to tell you how it ends or what happens, but it's good stuff. Next, put these here so I don't. I gotta put them on top of my Xbox, and probably a little too much weight for the top of the Xbox. So let me move on to the next one here. See, King of the Hill. Go to this one. Yeah. Let's see. This was by Wes Anderson. This is a strange movie. A lot of Wes Anderson movies to me are strange. 2012, 94 minutes, 5.1 surround, spine 776. Moonrise Kingdom. I liked it. It's odd. It's it's like two groups of kids that are almost like gangs, sort of. Not really gangs, but sort of a gang. And the protagonist boy runs off with a girl. I don't know if they have sex or what. I think they might. And they end up like creating a little home on the beach, and it's been a while since I saw this. They get chased by one of the gangs, and it's an interesting movie. They're a young couple on the run. Bruce Willis stars as the island police chief. Edward Norton's in this. A lot of stars in this. Bill Murray's in it. Frances McDormand. It takes place during the summer of 1965. They fall in love, make a secret pact, and run away into the wilderness. I'd recommend it. especially if you're a fan of Wes Anderson. I like Wes Anderson. He's not my favorite director, but he's well represented here in the Criterion Collection. As is David Lynch, and the next one is, and I've not watched this yet. I gotta watch this. I've opened it. I need to watch it. I've never seen it, so this is a blind buy for me. But again, Criterion Collection makes it easy. 2001, 146 minutes. Really, I thought it was older. 2001, 146 minutes in color, 5.1 surround, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. This is Mulholland Drive. And Mulholland Drive got its seductive, scary vision of Los Angeles. It's one of the true masterpieces of the new millennium. A tale of love, jealousy, and revenge like no other. So I'm looking forward to this one. In fact, I'm going to leave this one out, I think. I left the plastic on it. I need to do something with this sticker. But I don't like to put it on cardboard because if you ever peel it off, it's going to leave a mark, as they say. This one's easy. When I left the plastic on like this to get this out. Well, I say it's easy, but then it's not as easy as I thought it was going to be. I'm going to shake it a little bit. I'll show you the inside of this one. I don't know what that means, but it's key. That I know. A thick booklet, you know, with all the Criterion stuff going the way of the brochure now. It's nice to see a proper booklet. Beautiful women in this. Knowing David Lynch as I do, this is going to be kind of an odd deal here. Naomi Watts stars. Quite a few names I know. Billy Ray Cyrus is in it. No kidding. Yeah. So it opens up here like this. And then like this as well. Mulholland Drive. Looking forward to that one. I will leave that one out and watch that soon. See, it's on my short list along with the Apu Trilogy, and right now I'm watching some Hitchcock. I just watched The Lady Vanishes, great movie. I've seen it before, but not the whole thing. This one I have. Robert Altman, 681. 683, sorry. It's 1975, Nashville. Great movie. One of those movies where Robert Altman's always like this. You got all these stories that seem to be disconnected, and then somehow they sort of line up, some of them anyway. His Shortcuts is like that too, which is those Shortcuts. So that's in the DVD section. Yeah, this is country's political, cultural landscapes. This takes place in Nashville, Tennessee. 24 different characters. It weaves all these stories together, from country star to wannabe reporter, to a waitress, into a cinematic tapestry that is equal parts comedy, tragedy, and then musical. Many members of this astonishing cast wrote their own songs and performed them live on location. We've got Lily Tomlin in this, Henry Gibson, Keith Carradine, Geraldine Chaplin, the daughter of Charlie Chaplin, Karen Black. Yeah. Produced and directed by Robert Altman. One of my favorite Criterions of all, actually. Spy number, why is it so high? 541. In my mind, the greatest Robert Mitchum performance. Maybe the greatest Shelley Winters performance, too. Scary, but it could happen. From 1955, 93 minutes long, 1.66 to 1 aspect ratio in black and white. Of course, it's in English. Robert Mitchum stars in The Night of the Hunter. Charles Laughton, the famous Charles Laughton, the actor, his only directed film, and what a shame, because he does so much to capture different images and different shadows, and Lillian Gish stars in this as well. Lillian Gish of silent film fame. She stars as a rifle-toting protector of these two children, a little girl, little boy. Robert Mitchum's out to get what he deems they must have, which is some money. It's not even that. It's like $10,000 or something. I guess back then it was a lot of money. Back in the 50s or so. I guess it would have been. He's after the money. And I don't want to say too much more, but it's a great movie. I've watched it numerous times. I love the black and white image. I think Charles Laughton's brilliant. I've watched all the extras on this. There's quite a few. This is a dual 2-disc Blu-ray special edition. It's great. Night of the Hunter. Oh, highly recommend that. If you don't own Night of the Hunter, I would buy it. I would buy Night of the Hunter if you bought nothing else on the Criterion collection. That's how much I like it. I say that we should buy this one too. 647 from 1954, Elie Kazan, and the great Marlon Brando. Could have been a contender on the waterfront. Yeah, on the waterfront. What else to say about it? You've got mafia-like gangs running the waterfront. You've got a guy like Marlon Brando who's maybe willing to go up against them to some extent on the waterfront. Might be, well, I think he thought it was his best movie. I'm not sure it is, but it is good. And this is Ingmar Bergman from 1966, an 83-minute film. Of course, it's in Swedish, and it stars, is it Liv Ullmann stars in this? Yeah, Liv Ullmann, B.B. Anderson, Persona. Probably the film he did to women the best, probably one of the films that did women the best actually at that point from the 60s. Very in-depth, subtle, but was acted with astonishing nuance and shot in stark contrast with soft light by the great Sven Nykvist. Persona is a penetrating, dreamlike work of profound psychological depth. Yeah, kind of depressing, but good movie, Persona. I'd recommend that. And the last one on this, the center section of the first shelf, film by Peter Weller. Again, I haven't taken off the sticker from the. Somehow this is good that it shows the 50% off from Barnes and Noble. This is such a strange. This is spine number 29, 1975. It's in color. It's in English. Based on a book, which is also here, Picnic at Hanging Rock. Story of these people go on a picnic, these young ladies. They travel into this rock formation and never are seen again. And then the mystery is what happened to them and why should they care and so on and so forth. Interesting, weird movie. That's all I'll say about that one. Interesting but weird by Peter Weir. Kind of appropriate as Peter Weir. That's spine number 29, like I said. All right, now that's the middle section. I've got one more section to go on the top shelf. So this is going to be over an hour long, but I guess that's what it is. And we'll go on to the next section. I'm going to speed this last section up because I'm not sure how much room I have on my iPad to do this. The other day I tried to upload one. I had to delete a bunch of stuff to make room. Spine 709 from 1948. What a great release this was. So glad to have it. Includes the book, which I'll probably never read, but I watched the movie twice. John Wayne and Montgomery Clift. Red River. Great stuff. Dual format. The DVDs are actually at our lake property that we've got. It's kind of passed down through the family. The Blazing Guns of the Chisholm Trail is the book by Borden Chase. Probably never going to read it. You never know, I guess. And then that comes with Montgomery Clift, John Wayne. This movie was one that after it came out, John Ford said, "Oh, John Wayne can act." Before that, I guess he wasn't so sure. Although he had directed him in Stagecoach and others. He plays a bad dude in this one. John Wayne's used to being a good guy, but he was a bad guy in this one. And that is Red River. Yeah, Montgomery Clift and John Wayne don't see eye to eye on everything. John Wayne's kind of a tough bastard. Montgomery Clift's a little bit more soft-hearted. They both fall in love with the same woman. They're like father and son. Father and stepson? I think it might be father and stepson. Can't remember if it's his son or his stepson. Adopted son, played by Montgomery Clift. It's an interesting movie. Interesting dynamics. Alex Cox's Repo Man. What an iconic cover this is. A kid gets involved in, I think a young man gets involved in the repo world, and one thing goes, it's just weird. One thing goes one thing leads to another. He gets involved with some gang-like, mafia-like people. He finds out that one of the cars that he repossesses actually has some sort of an alien stuff in it. I don't know, it's really weird. Repo Man. Spine number... These ones is really hard to read. Okay, 654. 1984, 92 minutes, color, 1.78 to 1 aspect ratio. Oh, by the way, Red River, spine 709. I didn't give you the details on this one. 127 minutes, 1.37 to 1 aspect ratio. I did tell you the year, though. 3 films that Ingrid Bergman did with Roberto Rossellini, who she also married, I believe, at one point. Beautiful, beautiful woman. Stromboli, Europe 91. I don't know. Let's see. Europe 51, Stromboli and Journey to Italy. And then a pretty thick book here as well. See the spine of it. I enjoyed these. These are in Italian, I believe. Yeah, in Italian with English subtitles. Yeah. Good stuff. Spine 672. Classic movies that would have been made in the 60s. Yeah, early 60s. You can see all the extras. Tons. She's gorgeous. She's a great actress. These are great movies. What else can I say? Harold Lloyd. Spine 703. A little bit shorter, 79 minutes, black and white. There's a ton of extras on it, including some extra movies that he did. I think there's 3 or 4 different movies. This is The Freshman. What a great silent movie. He's similar to a Charlie Chaplin. He plays a college freshman who trying to fit in and eventually ends up on the football team. And yeah. 1925 silent film. 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio, which most of those were back then on your TV screen. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. I don't think they almost were that. Anyway, Sansho the Bailiff, 1954, 124 minutes, spine number, whoa, so light, and this plastic is 356, maybe 326. Not as many extras as I recall on this. There's a thick booklet, though. It's in Japanese. The guy loses everything. He's like a feudal lord. I guess he's given from the emperor. He's been given certain lands that he oversees, and he makes a decision in the favor of kind of a poorer person, and it goes against the grain. Yeah. So he's cast into exile. His wife and children left to fend for themselves. It's a terribly depressing and sad freaking movie, is all I can tell you. Sansho the Bailiff. I loved it. This might be the best film in the collection. It's spine number 2. It's Akira Kurosawa from 1954, 207 minutes, Japanese with English subtitles. It's influenced so many other films, and it's so well done. I'm talking about 7 Samurai on Blu-ray. I wouldn't have it on any other format but Blu-ray. It just looks so great on Blu-ray. 7 warriors are hired by a village to protect against some marauders that keep coming and stealing stuff from them. So the town hires these 7 samurai warriors to come and defend them. And each of the samurai warriors has their own story. Stars the legendary Toshiro Mifune. Yeah. Great stuff. Great movie. If you don't own this one and Night of the Hunter, these would be the 2 I'd start with. That's simple. Unless you can't stand English subtitles, and then I'd go with the Night of the Hunter first. Sweet Smell of Success. That's the next one. Plastic here. Sit here. This came off here a little bit. Back on. There we go. Spine. What was the spine of 7 Samurai? Oh yeah, 2. This one's 555. 1957, 96 minutes. Great Burt Lancaster, Tony Curtis film. about a critic. It's sort of based on an actual critic. Gossip columnist type stuff. Maybe Walter Winchell, I should say, not Windshield. Windshield's what's on your car. Directed by Alexander McKendrick. A lot of dialogue on this. It's an interesting movie. This guy's a rising. Let's see, what does he play? He plays like a press agent. Yeah, Tony Curtis is a press agent. Hunsaker is sort of like Walter Winchell, a gossip columnist who makes and breaks people by what he writes in the paper, and he's trying to get himself ingratiated into his favor and so on. 1957. It's black and white, as I recall. Yeah, black and white. Good movie. Roman Polanski's Tess. I'm trying to think of her name. It's gorgeous. Natasha Kinski, that's right. Gorgeous in Tess. Tells the story of she's a farm type girl who ends up married to maybe the wrong person, maybe the right person. Her cousin, I believe it is, who has a thing for her and tries to have sex with her, and then tries to ruin her after that. It's a really good movie by Roman Polanski, and Natasha Kinski's beautiful in it. Approved by the director, he's still alive, and this is a dual format as well, and a lot of extras on this one. 1979, 171 minutes, 5.1 surround sound, 2.35 aspect ratio. Very cinematic, beautifully photographed, beautifully directed by Roman Polanski. It's Tess. One of my favorites, 1952, 136 minutes in Japanese, 1.33 to 1 aspect ratio. I don't recall it being that, but I guess it is. Yashiro Ozo, Tokyo Story. Parents are getting older. They need to they don't have the resources they used to have. They need to maybe live with one of their children, and none of the children want to take them in. And it's just sad. Reminds me of another movie I have, but it's really sad. It says it's one of cinema's mightiest masterpieces. No doubt, it's a beautiful film. I don't know what to say about it. It's just a gorgeous film. This one I know what to say about. It's strange, man. David Cronenberg, probably the most iconic, Spine 248, most iconic package maybe. 1983, 89 minutes, 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. This is Videodrome with what looks like a VHS or beta film, which plays a big role in the movie. Why Tu Mama Tambien, 2001, 108 minutes, 1.851 to 1 aspect ratio, 723 is the spine. I really like this movie. Two guys, young, maybe 18, 19, 20, something like that, take this woman. They're at a wedding. I think they might be like distant cousins or something, or they're cousins to the guy she's dating or something like that. I can't remember. Anyway, at the wedding, they basically ask her to go on the road with them. They're going to go seeking, life and love, and she says okay. She's not really happy with her situation in life. They accompany them to a trip. She accompanies them to a trip to a faraway beach. The two form an increasingly intense and sensual alliance that ultimately strips them both physically and emotionally bare. It really is a cute film and an emotional film, and the ending is interesting. Spine 723. Why Tu Mama Tambien? I think it means in your mother too or something. The horse she rode in on, I don't know. Something like that. I'm so fascinated by these. 632, 3 and 4. The great Paolo Pasolini, who did Salo, which is a disgusting film, but influential nonetheless, and others, and it was shot and killed by somebody under dubious circumstances. This is his Trilogy of Life. The Decameron, the Canterbury Tales, and the Arabian Nights. It's all in Italian. These films are all in the 110-minute range, more or less. About 2 hours each. Bawdy, sexual, but entertaining films featuring religion and sex and imagery. And I like Paolo Pasolini. His book is thick. I'm not sure I can show everything in here. He's got so much nudity and stuff in his movies that there's a lot of nudity in here. Yeah, I can't show much of this. Quite a bit of nudity in there. But he was an interesting director, no doubt. And these are interesting movies. I would recommend them, but they're going to look low budget. The locations were real. Something about how he filmed it, I don't know. But Trilogy of Life. And that does it for the top shelf, guys. Hopefully I can fit all this on one video. Oh, sorry, there's one more. Can't leave this one out. Oh my goodness. Krzysztof Kieslowski, 3 colors, blue, white, red. Each movie brilliant. Each movie takes on a different aspect of the French flag, blue, white, and red, which stands for what? Liberty, equality, and fraternity. That's right. And each one of those films in some way reflects those. Nice book with it. Again, a thick book. Watched them all. They're all good. I like blue the best, but your mileage may vary. I like them all, but I like blue the best for some reason. And the imagery in blue, there's a lot of blue imagery. In white, there's a lot of white imagery, or a lot of white colors used, and then in red, a lot of red colors. So I like the way he did that. Krzysztof Kieslowski. His Decalogue is coming out here in another month or so from Criterion Collection, which is the 10 Commandments. Each one of those was made into a part of a mini series. So Thou shalt not kill was one of the episodes, and so on. Anyway, I look forward to that. But Krzysztof Kieslowski, brilliant director, 3 colors. All right, guys, that's it for the top shelf. Next time we'll start on this shelf, which will be from A to, or from numbers through Z, all the Blu-rays, and then we'll get to the DVDs last in the box sets. All right, guys, take care. Monty, hope you're feeling better. And until the next time, Dina DVD.